I bought another tractor yesterday. It's going to be replacing this Craftsman 20 horse. I call it the Craftsman Cube tractor for just how boxy it is. I was using this machine for pulling, towing other junk mowers around. I really like it. It's got the Kohler Magnum opposed twin. Real good motor. I like it. It's worked good for towing other mowers around. The only thing with this one is it's belt driven and it's got an aluminum trans. Which when I bought this in my shed here, this JCPenney, I figured this would be a good replacement for that. Plus, this has a rototiller on the back of it. So I could put this, more to use. It needs quite a bit of work though. It's kind of a work in progress. I'm just doing a little bit at a time with it. But it will run and it'll be completely functional. There'll be more videos about that shortly. What did I buy as a replacement for that? Well, this is what I bought right here. John Deere 314. I've been wanting one of these old John Deere shaft-driven garden tractors for quite a while. I've been looking for the past 2-3 years for one of these in my price range. And before I bought this one, I was scrolling on Facebook Marketplace and I found a John Deere 317. And I had every intention in buying that. It came with a snowblower, mowing deck, a cord of John Deere original paint, along with the owner's manual. And ended up I got there too late. By the time I messaged the seller, I was already told it was sold. So I got scrolling around a little bit more, and I found this, John Deere 314. It currently doesn't run right now. It's got some sort of electrical issue that I'll have to straighten out. I had to drive 3 hours to go get this. Very pumped to have one of these finally. Came with no mowing deck. The only thing it really came with for attachments was this plow, which at least it's something. I could probably use it for something. I'll figure out what. But it's got the Kohler 14 horse. The seller of this tried everything to make it run. He ended up, because he wanted to make this a real nice tractor to use, he put new points, new key switch, new PTO switch. The more and more you walk around this, the more new parts you find. And the electrical issue popped up and didn't know what to do and listed it for sale, and I bought it. Which like I said, I'm really excited to have it. Finally, one of these. Really didn't want to drive 3 hours, but seller told me, if you don't come right now, I got someone else who just messaged me on it. I can hold it for you just because you messaged me first. So I made it down there and I got it. Original Kohler horizontal shaft. I assume what I'm guessing is wrong with it is maybe because there's a neutral safety switch for the hydro. So the hydro will make this a lot nicer for pulling. You don't have to shift anymore, push the clutch. Very pumped to have this machine. I'll have more videos on this as soon as I start working on it. Now, what I found in the past, I was really looking for a 316 or 318, preferably, or, something similar. And in the past, I found a couple of 318s. One of them is just down the road where I live up here. It was absolutely, it was immaculate there. It looked like you just bought it from the showroom floor. It was absolutely pristine. Even the underside of the mowing deck looked pristine. It really, I mean it by, it looked pristine. It looked like it was never used, but yet it had over 2,000 hours on it. It didn't have the original Onan Pose Twin. The seller pulled the Onan out and he put in a Briggs Vanguard instead. I don't know, he never said what happened to the original motor. He just said he replaced it with the Vanguard. And he said it only had 200 hours on it. And he wanted $2,000 for it. I really didn't want to pay $2,000 for an old machine. I was more looking for something in the $500 or less range. Then about a couple of years prior, I seen another 318. It was used every season to mow 3 or 4 acres of grass every year. It had 1,500 hours on it. It had the typical wear on it. It smoked a little bit when you start it, like it's bound to. But it was very well mechanically taken care of. It was serviced every year at the dealer. And again, they wanted $15 for it, and I really didn't want to pay $15 for one. I'd rather buy something that needs a little bit of work that I could work on, tinker with it, finesse it, get it right. Of course, that's just my Of course, that's what I prefer too. And I like working on this old stuff here, getting it going. It's been repainted once, but I think I'll repaint it again, just because there's all this primer. Doesn't really look the greatest. So I think once I get it running good, and once spring comes around, I'll repaint the whole tractor. Alright, I got the booster pack on it. I'm going to turn the key to the on position. We're going to turn the PTO on just to see if it's getting power to the PTO. I don't know if you can hear that, but the PTO is clicking. So it is getting power to the PTO. What happens if I try to... Alright, something is arcing out. It's something with it turning over. So, I'm going to take my test light. I'm going to start checking some simple stuff. At least first. I do see right away that it doesn't have the greatest ground in the world. You kind of have to hit it in the right spot to get it to light. So that's probably the start of the issues. How about if I just touch this to ground, if I go straight to the positive? I'm not getting anything. Just try grounding it right on that bolt right there. I'm thinking the first thing I would probably do is clean up the ground wire. Because I'm not getting the greatest ground in the world. that's what I'm going to start with. Clean the ground, tighten it back up, and see if that makes a difference. Well, it's not as simple as a bad ground, but I will show what it's doing. If I hook up the negative and positive, and if I hit the key, you'll see that this negative arcs. At least it did. Very good. Making a liar out of me. It doesn't want to do it. So right now I got power back. Headlights on. And when I hit the key, it's just clicking. This can either mean two things. Either the starter is seized in place or the solenoid's bad. I'm going to see if I can get this cover off so I can get to the starter. So to eliminate the starter, I'm going to jump start it just to see if it turns over. Now how you do that is you put your positive right on the lead that goes to the stud of the starter, then the negative goes on the ground, and I just use just a regular lawn and garden battery, or you could use a car battery, something that just has a 12-volt supply. And if this turns over, then I know it's got to be the solenoid. If it doesn't turn over, then I know it's a starter issue. So let's give it a try and see what happens. Either I got a bad ground, chances are it's a bad ground. We're going to try grounding on this stud here. I'll move this clamp up here. Let's try it again. Nothing. I'm not getting anything. It's not even trying to start. I'm going to try right on this ground clamp. Alright, it's not looking too promising. Let's take the starter off the machine and we'll go from there. So, found the main cause of what's wrong with this tractor. This starter is no good. I can't even jump it to get it turning. Nothing. I'm not getting anything. If that was a good starter, that would turn over. Starter's burned up. Alright, the new starter is in. Time to throw it in right about. Alright, let's give it a try now. Yeah, she sounds good. So this is where I'm at with the John Deere now. I tried to start this off camera and I couldn't get it to run. And I pushed it out of the way and I found this chunk of gasket. So I took the head off. Blown head gasket. The piece I found mates with the blown piece, so I know it was this head gasket that blown. So I got a new head gasket for it that I'm gonna put in. Before I do that, I'm gonna clean the cylinder. The cylinder wall is
good. You probably can't see it, but it's still got cross-hatching in the cylinder wall.
This motor has lived an easy life, I would say. The carbon buildup isn't even that bad. I'm still going to clean it off, though. And then I got the part I need to fix this for the choke linkage here. But I'm going to put this head gasket in first. I can choke it manually just to, see if it runs, try it out and whatnot. But we'll get it cleaned up and we'll try it out. So I think that I'm going to make this a 2 or 3 part series. Got quite a bit accomplished. At least this, I'm glad at least the choke linkage works from the dash. This is actually a choke plate out of a Kohler Courage V-twin, I believe. And I made it work with what I got. I've having a few thoughts with this machine. I see on Facebook Marketplace there's someone selling a John Deere 140, and what I kind of had in mind is the 140 has the dual hydraulics and the turning brakes. So I was thinking of put the dual hydraulics on this and the turning brakes on this. Maybe if I can even get that 140 running, and of course this is if I buy it, maybe I'll, put this and put the single hydraulic on that and sell it as is, and just, put what I want on here. I've also had thoughts of building like a front loader for this, bucket loader. Just a thought I've had. I really would like to work on this. There's just, other mowers that ought to be fixed before this. Even my JCPenney, even this has been just sitting here. I put this off to the side. This I don't think will take too much to get it going. So you'll notice that I took the head back off. So what happened was, so how this happened was I don't have a torque wrench, so I ended up, I guessed, on the torque. So I ruined the gasket myself. So I'm gonna have to order a new gasket, and I'll actually pick up a torque wrench. I'll probably just pick up one from Harbor Freight or whatever pops up. If you got any suggestions for a good torque wrench, let me know in the comments. Never had one before. I think it's probably about time. So I'd like to keep working on this. I'd really like to bring this thing back to life again. And see, the main thing I kind of got this for was I figured this would make a good pulling tractor to tow all the junk ones around. Either that or this one here. This JCPenney has a cast iron serviceable transaxle, just like this. These are both real garden tractors. And they've got heavy rear ends that you can actually service. That's what I like about these older machines. They're definitely worth saving in my opinion. It's just, right now, there's too many other projects coming up, and of course spring is around the corner, so I figured it's more important to get a couple of my mowers ready for, for the season. Just so I can sell, and then when I get a little bit of time, I'll work on these again, get these all fixed up and ready. So, I'll catch you later when I upload part 2 of the 314.